It's time to welcome back to Hometown TCG, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh.
And I'm John.
And we wanted to give you guys an update on the current meta for all of your Blitz events, for your Armory events, for these Skirmish events, Adventure of the Callings. These are our thoughts on the meta. But before we get into it, that live stream was awesome.
Oh, it was amazing. We were blown away by the feedback. We did not expect that. We couldn't keep up with the chat.
We couldn't keep up with the chat.
Just thank you so much for the support. And thank you also for the support to the patrons that have been now in our Discord. We've got a nice chat going on.
Yes, you guys rock. Again,
patreon.com/hometown-tcg.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about this meta, and we are going to start at the tippy top with what we believe are your tier 1 decks, your top of the meta, your beefiest problems to fight, and the first one is, everyone already knows it,
Ira!
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, Ira is just so good and so easy to play that you can't make mistakes.
It is, guys, we joke around about Ira a lot, but the strength comes from the power of the deck, but also the consistency, right? It's what we strive for with every hero we build. The deck is so consistent, it can do what it wants every turn. You gotta like the deck. It's definitely at the top of the meta right now.
Yeah, as long as you, like, maybe once an event you draw poorly.
Exactly.
It just feels good.
Yes, so you have a very consistent deck, but we got a couple other heroes at the top of the meta, right?
Yeah, so obviously Dorinthia, who is seen as the other top one
exactly.
in the earlier skirmish events, but she's always going to be powerful, man. She's hard to block, and she got a couple new cards people are trying out from the new set, so she's interesting to see as well.
Absolutely.
Then we got
kind of our favorite pick in the meta right now, and that is Kano, guys. If you're a Kano player, it might be your time to shine. We've been playing a little bit of Kano ourselves. We were kind of theory crafting it against other decks and seeing how matchups would play out, and we truly believe Kano is undervalued right now.
Yeah, you look at the Iras, and if they're trending more towards these sink belows, if they're trending more towards these push the points and other red attacks, that's less blues they're running, it's less life gain they're running, and that gives the opportunity for Kano to come in and just run with it.
Absolutely, and Ira does not want to get rid of her equipment. And with Ira being, roughly 30 to 33% of the meta, if you can consistently have a chance or be coin flip against that deck, you're in a strong spot. Now, it fares well against our other top tier meta picks as well. Dorinthia doesn't run a ton of blues, does not really want to get rid of her equipment, plays well against Dorinthia, and then our final dark horse pick. You see what I did there?
We got Chain, yeah. So Chain is, people have been loving Chain. I think it's safe to say that a lot of people see it as a top tier now. He's powerful. He can just put out so much damage,
and the mixed damage is ridiculously tough to block. However, our pick Kano plays very well against Runeblade.
Because if you get into a position where you have to block, if they have like a Blazing Aether where you have to block them, if they're sending an Aether Flare your way and you have to block them, you may not have the pitch to play out of your blood debt cards.
Right. So that blood debt, the blood debt can take you down. So a well-timed, powerful Kano turn can put you in a spot where you just can't recover. So we think Kano plays well into all of these, but guys, these are not the only decks that win right now. We have a tier 2, or what some people would consider a tier 1.5. And guys, these are decks that can beat the top tier decks, and they can win an event on any given Friday.
So they all have a little weaknesses, which is, I think, the characteristics of a tier 2 thing. Is they can win, they're super powerful, but have some weaknesses. So the first one would be Bravo. Bravo is great. He has some great matchups. He's really consistent at doing what he wants to do. The problem is he has a hard time against Ira.
Yeah, so he doesn't beat Ira, and if your deck doesn't beat a deck that we see taking up, a third of the format right now, it could put you in a rough spot. But against every other deck, Bravo's in a pretty good place. And that goes very similarly to Reinhardt, right?
Yeah, Reinhardt's cool because he's always in it, no matter who he plays against. He can win. He's like the only deck that can actually beat you on the first turn of the game.
Absolutely, can beat you down on the first turn of the game, and he makes our tier 2 list because, like you said, it feels like you're in every game. At any moment, you can have that explosive triple intimidate turn, you can get those Blood Rush Bellows down, and you can pop off.
Yeah, now the thing is he can't necessarily continuously output the damage and maybe keep up with an Ira sort of thing, but his explosive turns, if you get him early, it's a good game.
Good night, Ira Reen. And that kind of goes along with our next tier in our tier 1.5 or tier 2. I'm going to call it tier 2. Our tier 2 list is our Viscerai. Just like Rhinar, it doesn't have that constant pressure, right? But the explosive turns that even mid-range Viscerai can output can really swing a game and make it easy to close them out.
Yeah, and we were seeing a lot of Viscerais towards the end of like the March skirmish season. And he's just great. Like those amplify the art or the Arknight Ascendancies are just insane, dude. And there's not many answers for a command and conquer pummel right now. And he runs that, and if you hit that, people just can't stop that.
Exactly. It's very hard to come back from because you choose not to block it because you want to swing back. It punishes you. You choose to block it. It still punishes you. It can be an absolute game changer. But we got 2 new heroes in our tier 2.
Yeah. So some heroes that aren't getting as much love.
But we think our tier 2. We truly believe this.
Yeah, so we'll start with Bolton. So Bolton did actually get second place at the recent, I can't think the skirmish 100-player event. Shout out to Jimmy Lay. I was chatting with him about this.
Okay.
Dude, because Bolton can put out a lot of damage. A 20 damage turn, it's not uncommon with him.
Especially in the Blitz format. I mean, a 20 damage turn threatens lethal at any moment. Your opponent is required to do something about it. Anytime you can make your opponent interact with you in a way they don't want to, you're on the winning end of that trade. You love that.
That's right. His problem, though, is sometimes you can draw just clunky hands that don't work right. If you don't have an attack reaction, you're stuck with one attack. Or sometimes you don't draw an attack like Josh for 4 turns straight.
Guys, it was horrible. So that is a possibility. This is why it is important to build that deck. And this is kind of what makes it tier 2 is you can fall into those pit traps. But the other brand new hero in this tier 2 that can take home these wins and can, on any given Friday, win this armory is Prism. Prism is another character that likes to pummel command and conquer. They like to pummel big attacks. And if you can catch someone at the right time, you can win a game. And the versatility to be able to switch on the fly from a Herald big attack deck to more of a control with the few auras that you play or something like that is valuable in this meta. In a 20 life format, you can play 2 different decks in the same game. You can take home some wins with Prism.
It certainly is. And a caveat is that we don't think the strictly control version is the version to play right now. It's the more of aggressive, but it is cool that she can switch to that on a dime, where someone like Bolton can't really switch. Bolton has to play with a full hand.
Exactly. Bolton's sticking to a strategy where Prism's a little more versatile. And our last hero in our tier 2 is one that you are going to bat for. Personally, this is a thorn in John's side, and he believes in it. Tell him what you got for him.
Okay, people have been putting this dude at tier 4, and I'm talking about Katsu. All right, Katsu can put out some insane pressure. All right, he really can. If he goes second, he's going to have a good game, and you're going to be hard-pressed to beat him because he can be more aggressive than Ira can. His problem is he just blocks terribly.
You have to race your opponent. So if you get into a race where you're not drawing well, you can find yourself in a losing situation. However, there are those games, guys, on Katsu where if you're going second, you get into that race and your opponent can't keep up. It becomes impossible. So like you said, that threatening mask, all your hit effects, drawing cards, it can be overwhelming.
I think he's too powerful to just completely ignore.
Okay.
It's just he's not consistent, and that's why he can't be a tier 1.
So consistency being a big theme here still. So all you guys, when you're building your decks, consistency, that's your winner.
That's right.
So guys, this is a super exciting time for Fab because we literally just named 10 heroes that you can go to your armory event and you can win games. That's what makes this game, that's what makes this community and this meta so exciting. There are so many options for people to play based on what you like, based on what you don't like. That is just an awesome experience.
You know, I didn't think of this before, but every single one of these decks we've won an armory with.
Absolutely.
Every single one on the list.
Yes, we actually have won an armory with every single deck on this list. So guys, you can play whatever you like, whatever you're pulling cards for, whatever you got. It's just going to take some practice. It's going to take some understanding of the meta, how to beat different decks, watching our How to Beat series, and that's going to get you across that finish line. So as we close here, super exciting time for the game, super exciting time for the meta. Do you expect someone to break in at the last second into this meta?
Oh man, we'll see. I'm still championing for Kano, but there could be a dark horse if for some reason, we don't see one of these top tier decks in there.
You said dark horse. Do you mean Levia?
Oh, I don't quote me on that.
Don't mean Levia. So guys, thanks for joining us again. The live stream has been a blast. You guys are awesome. Patreon.com/HometimeTCG if you want to support more. If you don't and you're just watching the video, that's all the support we need. You guys rock. We appreciate you. And until next time, my name is Josh.
And I'm John.
And we will see you around.